Hi. So, I feel like discussing something today that might, again, make people uncomfortable. If you don't like dealing with things in reality that are ugly, this might not be for you. So, a lot of people, and I included actually, even before I realized, because I was in a very abusive relationship, thinking it was normal. I used to question why women didn't leave their abusers. And the thing is, especially in my case, and many others, especially those who grow up in really private, religious, cult-like upbringings, we get programming at a very young age on how we're supposed to be, whether you're a man or a woman, right? Boys behave this way, girls behave that way. And the problem is your brain's not done developing. Your brain is still growing. Your needs immediately stop being met by your caregivers unless you start meeting conditions. They start doing this to so many kids at a young age. I mean, by the time I was 8 years old, my stepfather had me sewing his clothes, had me making his meals, had me doctoring him when he got wounded working. I was the one who did all the things you would expect a wife to do. And I was also the one he would talk to and emotionally vent to. On top of being punished, on top of being lectured for hours about how I was supposed to behave, how I was supposed to think, what made me a good person, what made me a bad person. All of this was drilled into me before I was 8 years old, some of it quite violently. And when I mean by violent, I don't necessarily mean always physical. I mean psychological violence, by locked in a closet on top of a hot water tank at the age of 4 by myself. There's a lot of different ways you can be broken and reprogrammed to fit other people's narratives. And when this is done to you at a very young age, repeatedly, you tend to find yourself in situations when you're older that repeat those cycles because they're familiar. And anything that's different is really terrifying. And because you're already terrified, you can't handle it. And because the rest of the world outside of your tiny little bubble you've been isolated and abused in functions a lot differently with a lot more variety than you've ever been told has ever existed, it's not just a culture shock. It's like a fractured reality. You don't know what's real. Do those people really live like that? Or are my abusers lying to me? Like, is that a real life out there? Or are they right and those people are just all pretending and it's just a trap? You don't know. And you're in a constant state of fear, constant terror. And it's unpredictable. You don't know when it's coming. Maybe he had a bad day. Maybe the woman he was sleeping with at work dumped him and he comes home and wants to fucking take it out on you. You don't know what's gonna happen. There's a lot of us. And it's I can't speak for the experiences men have, but I can tell you as a woman, I truly believed, my abusers truly had me convinced 100% that all the women in their social groups didn't like me, thought I was crazy. I've been programmed to believe that since I was a kid. They also had me 100% convinced I didn't know how to function in the world and that I couldn't function properly because I didn't know how to be social. I didn't know how to communicate with people. I didn't know how to connect to people. I wasn't a good person because I couldn't feel and be like other people. Now, I'm neurodivergent, so I don't think like other people, so it was really easy for them to use that against me. I also have a very deep sense of integrity, meaning I don't like doing people wrong, and I will go out of my way to correct the behavior I feel was unjust. They used that against me too. So when I finally did truly leave my ex-partner with the intention of remaining away, I I can't even stress to you, if you've never been to war or had something like, if you've never had your reality fracture and you can't tell what's real, I don't know how to express this to you. The first 2-3 months, I had to fight my own mind to the point where I felt insane because my programming had me terrified. You're going against your ex. You're doing everything they said you were gonna do, and now you're gonna make the whole world fall apart. All these beliefs, all the programming. And I was terrified. I was waiting for him to come for me. Even my kids. You know, my son was terrified of me walking the dog because he was afraid Dad was gonna come and pick me up and he'd never see me again. When women struggle to leave their abusers, it's because they may not have the capacity for the battle it's going to take to fight themselves. In a way, I was kind of lucky because of my neurodivergence and because of some of the abuse I had as a child. It taught me to separate myself in a way I could disconnect from my emotions and my thoughts and ignore them and just do what I had to do. Because as a kid, that's something I had to do a lot. I had to not cry, not react, not get upset, and do what I was told to do, or I'd be punished more. So you learn to just shut off and just go because you have to. There's no choice. So that saved me. I was able to, sometimes when things I had to do, like I had to go to the police station, I had to report the abuse, I had to talk to the social workers, I would just shut parts of me off and get shit done. But then afterwards, when I finally let myself feel the roiling chaos of emotions that it caused and such a renting, a tearing inside of me, you're doing it wrong. You're wrecking your life. You're ruining everyone else's life. You're stealing your kids from their dad. And then the other side of me knowing, no, you saw what he did. You heard what he did. You know what he did to you. And it's constant. Because when your brain has been psychologically programmed and you have been emotionally and psychologically broken and repeatedly and programmed to serve other people's purposes, it's a really fucking hard thing to come out of. We don't have systems set up in this world to actually genuinely support women when they go through this, when they leave their abusers. Because most women in extremely abusive relationships are there because that's how they've been living their entire lives. They don't know any different. Yeah, we give them shelter. Yeah, we give them once a week group counseling maybe. But who's helping them with that internal torment? Who's helping them put their reality back together after it's been fractured so many times? Who's there to just let them sit there and cry and do nothing? Because that's what they need to do. They need to feel safe doing nothing. So if you ever look at a woman, or even a man, because I'm sure it's the same for men who stay with abusive women or abusive men, but if you ever look at somebody and you see them and what they're suffering, and to you it's so clear, and you're like, why the fuck wouldn't they just leave? What's wrong with them? This is what's wrong with them. Don't judge what you don't know, but help where you can. We're all just doing our very best. Have a great day.